Hey everybody, welcome back to 13 Rings and NFC East podcast. I'm your host Lucas with Mal, Maurice, and Earl. Mal, very glad to have you back.
It's good
Welcome
to be
back.
back, y'all.
Yes, but sadly this is
Yep.
not the week that you get to talk about your Giants. Instead, we get to talk about America's team, if you believe such nonsense. No, I'm joking, but of course they are labeled America's team. The Dallas Cowboys, and Earl, you get to tell us your offseason grades for them.
Cool. I've been waiting to do this for a while, and that America's team is definitely one that I would say is in question, but is what it is. But I'm gonna lean towards the leadership, grading the leadership. With what I've seen over this offseason, I've seen that the Cowboys they really needed someone with a teacher would be able to keep the kids under control and ignite discipline on the players. With that, they were able to sign Mike Zimmer as their new defensive coordinator, which is on a 1 year deal. But from what I've seen, he's added key components to his staff. And I think they're really making their point on stance with what they're trying to preach to the players that was already there. They're trying to implement structure as well as making sure that the one player is helping another player do their job while still assisting with team efforts to get what they need done and accomplished. So with Mike Zimmer, I feel like he's definitely older now, but over time I've seen him work in Cincinnati, I've seen him work in Minnesota, I've seen him work with actually Deion Sanders back at Jackson State and pretty much see him back with Dallas. The last time he was here, he worked under Bill Parcells on the Cowboys staff. One thing that I noticed with Mike Zimmer is that he's that teacher that will get in your face. He will sit you down when you're making mistakes on the field. He wants guys that are precise, efficient. Don't be don't be pretty, don't be cute, but be good. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson with that quote. Good enough where you're on the field to be able to make sure you're doing your job the best way possible. So, with that, I actually have Mike Zimmer being the first round draft pick for Dallas because it's installing discipline in which I felt the Dallas defense was lacking in under the helm of Dan Quinn. Guys, what are y'all grades for the leadership so far?
I mean, coaching wise, we know what Mike McCarthy is. I grade Mike McCarthy as like a B style coach. Zimmer's solid. I've always liked Zimmer. He's a good defensive coach. He's a solid replacement for Dan Quinn. But I'm also looking at front office / ownership when I'm thinking about this grade. And let's be real, your front office fumbled pretty bad in free agency this offseason, which we'll get to free agency. But all the drama saying, like, we're all in, making a spectacle of the offseason yet again, not getting these extensions done yet. I'm going to give your leadership I'm going to give it a C minus. I just don't believe in Jerry.
Ooh.
Harsh.
It's nothing to do. It's more to do with the ownership and front office than it has to do with the coaching staff.
That might be the
That's
lowest
fair.
score we've had to date.
Yeah, I get it. I understand, Lucas, with what you say in it, but and this could just be under what front office has a tendency to do. Yeah, they haven't signed the big names and things, but I really feel like teams in the division is trying to catch up to Dallas on what they're trying to do. I can at least say with the guys, even if they're not moving the way other teams are moving, they're still getting guys in here that can at least average to get you at least a 10 win, 12 win, where all I need them to do is be better at what they do, just a little bit to get them over that hump. I'll take with what front office is doing under talent standpoint, but I do understand what you mean by it. I just feel like with their consistency with trying to organize a team so much is more of a big spectacle instead of more gritty championship teams. but I honestly could still see Dallas still contending with a record to at least be in contention to get in the postseason. Where I just need them to hit the switch just a little bit, hit the switch completely to the point where I can see them going in the right direction. I just feel like they're complacent right now.
Yeah.
Mal, what grade do you have?
So you know how I feel about Jerry Jones. It's basically my ranking is not as low as Lucas's, but he really is the reason as to why my ranking. So I'll start with my ranking. My ranking for the coaching staff and front office is probably a B minus, floating toward a B. I think that Mike McCarthy is a pretty good coach. I mean, he's got a good track record. You guys are always having winning seasons, and your roster construction is usually always good. You're always a contending team. It's just a matter of getting it done, and there's just something missing there, and that
Yep.
in the end is a coaching thing. So
Fair.
I'm definitely gonna probably float more to the B minus, but it's close to a B.
Maurice?
Before I give my grade, let me ask you a question. I don't think nobody's ever asked you this. Is going from Dan Quinn to Mike Zimmer an upgrade or a downgrade in your opinion?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Good
I like that.
question.
I give it as an upgrade
Really?
because
Okay.
the reason for it, I feel like Dan Quinn is more of he got inherited talented guys. I really didn't see him building this defense to what they need to be. He pretty much took them away from what their bread and butter is to the point where there was a lack of discipline. And I feel like Mike Zimmer in there is building structure that will implement discipline for the defense. I see it as an upgrade where I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt Dan Quinn's job was easy where he really didn't challenge the player. I think Mike Zimmer will challenge the player.
Okay. All right. So with that said, I'm gonna give it a B minus as well. Um,
Okay.
I'm keeping everything in totality when it comes to the management, ownership, and coaches. It's been a lackluster offseason in general when it comes to the management part of it. Uh, so with that said, I'm gonna give it a B minus. We'll see where it goes, but as of recording this, hasn't really been much going on, and that's indicative of Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and everybody else. So I'll go to B minus.
That's fair. And ain't nothing changed on the date on the calendar with this, but I'm gonna go with Mal and Maurice on a B minus. I really think with the moves, yeah, I would have saw something from it, but I would have fell in the trap with all other Cowboy fans wanting a name player, one of those top prospects that's out there on the market. I knew we weren't gonna get that. That's why I stayed complacent with where I was at. I wasn't like hooping and hollering over a big name guy or a key guy. If they're gonna go through the season with a younger team, I honestly really can't see them falling off drastic over a new defensive coordinator where all you would need to do is have the defense more in a traditional spot, unlike what Dan Quinn did to get what you need addressed. And that's my honest opinion with it, where front office, all I need them to do is hit the switch on certain things. I really feel like Jerry Jones is going to be the motor mouth that he is, spewing out obnoxious riddles. Stephen Jones is more in the business standpoint that he's scared to pull the trigger to send dollars out. I really think he's Scrooge McDuck when it comes to his money, where I've seen three other Texas teams open up their pockets. They didn't sit on their hands. They did what they needed to at least sniff, get close to a finals where they were in conference finals.
Oh,
And I
you're talking
respect
about
them for that.
Dallas teams. Sorry, I got
Yeah,
confused for a
Dallas
second.
teams. Right. So it's basically I saw the Dallas Stars get to the conference finals. I saw the Texas Rangers win the World Series, and I saw the Mavericks make it to the finals. So it's they're at least sniffing contention of championships over these recent years, even after being abysmal the past years before. I've really seen them like take that next step in making sure that their team can be in contention to achieve getting to a championship. I really see Dallas with Jerry and Son sitting on their hands. And if they're able to not sit on their hands, at least open up their wallets a little bit, sky's the limit. Because I mean, you have guys, you have Will McClay drafting players to just fit your mold. All you gotta do is just spend that cash a little bit. That's all I need y'all to do. But if they're not doing it, I just gotta see how this could work, getting them in the right direction. But I digress with the leadership in there. The next I'm gonna grade on free agency. It's been cobwebs, quiet in free agency. But to be fair, I'm gonna say that bringing Zeke back, I really think that would have helped the offense last season with this new West Coast offense that Mike McCarthy was implementing. I think with him, yeah, some may say he's long in the tooth, but I still think he has juice in the tank to be able to help the offense in any way possible. Mal, I wanted to bring this up to you because I know that there was like a bet spewing.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little quick thing on seeing what you might think this would go.
Okay.
So for this, I know we're competing with Singletary and Zeke,
Uh-huh.
but let's raise the stakes a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm listening.
I want us to know our 53-man roster. I want to wager our running back room for the season, which means to go to rushing, all-purpose yards, touchdowns, and at the end of the day, we'll total up the running back room numbers. Whoever running back room is better wins the bet.
Hang on,
Okay.
hang on, Mal. Before you accept,
Uh-huh.
I feel like Earl's doing this because I feel like he knows that Devin Singletary will probably put up more numbers than Zeke. And he's doing the running back room as a total to try to even the playing field.
Lucas, why do you hold on? No, Lucas, why do you hate Ezekiel Elliott?
No, I don't hate him. I just think that I think that Devin Singletary might put up better numbers this season. I mean, Devin Singletary had a career year last year with the Texans, right? So like and Dak had a career worse year. So I feel like you just stacking the deck
Career
in your
worse
favor,
year?
sir. I mean, like he averaged the lowest yards per game that he has ever averaged. Correct?
You're talking about Dak Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott?
Zeke, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Mal, you do you, and we can change the terms of the bet if you agree to this. I just feel I don't want Earl to bamboozle you. That's all.
I'm not gonna bamboozle Mal, sir. At least I know who's gonna be on the team. You worried about a dude named Yankoff trying to make this team? Really?
Okay, first off, you know that's going to be one of the best names in the whole entire division.
It's gonna be the best one not on the team after the 53.
Hey, you don't know that. You don't know that. He could be the next what's the guy in New Orleans? What's his name? The guy that plays like quarterback and tight end, whatever his name is. He's going to be the next one of them.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. Yeah, he's going to be the next Taysom Hill. Yankoff. Going to call it now.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right, I will say this, Earl. Let me sleep on it.
Okay. I will tell you the wager of the win.
What's the wager?
Okay. Before Lucas brutally interrupted.
Brutally.
If you win, I will buy a New York Giants pop figure of your choosing. Post a pic on IG in the IG stories. I saw a couple of Giants pop figures. I saw Eli Manning, Odell, Lawrence Taylor. I even saw a giant Santa pop figure as well. Either works. I will post a picture with that as well as talking in my story on how good of this player is.
Ooh.
And now if I lose, what do I have to do?
If I win, you have to buy an Ezekiel Elliott Dallas Cowboy pop figure, post a pic, same thing on IG and your stories.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay. I you know what?
Ooh.
That's a fun wager. I accept your bet, Earl.
Let's go.
Virtual handshake.
Virtual handshake. I accept it. And real quick, not a tangent, guys. Just wanted to mention this. So actually, my coworker, who was a Jets fan that I used to work with, made a Photoshop photo of me in a Zeke jersey and signed it.
Ooh.
Thanks for supporting Cowboys Nation. Love Zeke. It was the funniest thing in the world. I still have the photo.
You got to send that to me.
I absolutely will.
You have to
Wait a
send
minute.
that
Wait a
to
minute.
me so I can post that.
Wait a
I'll
minute.
show you guys.
Mal, you didn't throw up in your mouth a little bit?
And I walked into work and it was right on my desk, and I was like, "Where did this come from?"
I need to talk to him real quick because I got some ideas about Lucas that I want to
I
spear
know.
out.
Let me guess. Does it have to do with Major Tutty?
Oh, no, never.
I don't believe you.
Look, I need to get in contact with this guy because I have some ideas. Lucas might think it's Major Tutty, but I'm leaning towards other things. A little bit of blue, a little bit of green.
Earl is
You know what I mean?
right now.
Blue green. What am I being? Seattle Seahawk?
Oh, I ain't telling you what. You'll see though.
Oh dear Lord. Okay.
All right, back to the grading of free agency. It wasn't too many moves, but there was one move that I saw that I know Dallas is pretty much infamous for. They really have a tendency to go after UFL free agents, especially after the UFL league. I see this team constantly looking for that next player that could be the next big thing from a Cavante Turpin or Brandon Aubrey. Their track record on being able to go after these guys, they're decent. Some are solid. And recently, yesterday, they signed two. They signed cornerback Darian Conley and running back Willie Harvey. Conley was drafted by the Raiders back in the 2017 first round. Paul Gunther, who's pretty much the defensive run game coordinator with Dallas, was his DC back in Oakland in 2018 to 2019. Willie Harvey, he signed with Dallas, where he pretty much led the UFL with 73 tackles this past season, including the second best in tackles for losses. And he was on the St. Louis Battlehawks, while Gary and Conley was on the DC Defenders. So I'm not sleeping on these guys. And from Lucas's sourness about Ezekiel Elliott, I can at least say with it, I'm not sleeping on what they did in free agency, where even if the less moves, it might be something rewarding as it blossoms through the soil. So my honest grade for this, I give them a C to a C minus. What are your grades, Lucas, Mal, and Maurice?
Yeah, I mean, free agency wise, y'all didn't really do much. I'm gonna go even lower. I'm gonna give it a D.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a D only because, and you know, we'll get into the draft because I have a different grade for that. Free agency wise was just very underwhelming. I think you guys lost a lot of your line in free agency, and obviously you recouped it later on, which once again we'll get into the draft. But in free agency, you didn't address anybody you lost, so I'm giving it a D.
Okay, Lucas.
I'm gonna be a little nicer than Mal, but not too much nicer. I'm gonna give it a C. Because you might be able to find some diamonds in the rough in the UFL. I'll give you that. But you did not only did you not replace the guys that you lost in free agency minus one besides Lance Kendricks, is that his name?
Eric Kendricks.
Eric Kendricks, sorry, excuse me. You also haven't extended your three main guys yet.
Yeah, that's a main thing too.
Yeah,
not even one of them.
Not one. That's actually rethinking that. I'm gonna go down to a D plus. Still better than Mal's, but not look. That's not resigning those three. If they're your franchise pillars, you take care of them first.
Hey, I get it. So I can talk about the free agency where after totaling what's already on the team, including those big name guys, Dallas had 39 players on 1-year deals. Not even to mention 1-year deals on their coaches, McCarthy, Zimmer, and pretty much his staff. So yeah, it's weary on what it looks like from there, and they have a lot they have to work on. And I just feel like they move when they move, and I think for it, some fans could be upset over it, but I'm not trying to be that one that's upset over it because it's a repeated thing. Nothing's new. Maurice, you're great.
Hang on. Before Maurice goes, Mal just posted the picture of her in that Zeke shirt, in that Zeke picture. I'm dying. Also, Earl, I will say this. You guys could get a higher grade from me if you signed Alex Ellis from the Washington Defenders from the U.S.
Wow.
And you know why I say that? Because I went to elementary school with Alex. Shout out to Alex Ellis. How you doing?
I ain't worried about that. I'm looking at this picture of Mal.
Shout out to
Zeke
Alex
jersey.
Ellis. How you doing? He says.
That's actually a good Photoshop.
Yeah, that is.
He
Yeah,
really got me good on that one. And he even printed it out and like bought the whole frame and everything. So clearly,
Look,
I don't even remember what I did, but clearly it wasn't
I will pay
good.
this man on the pictures I need of Lucas. Like
Stop
literally,
it.
that is this sold me right here.
Hold up.
Yes.
Hold up. You said green and blue? This has nothing to do with football, is it?
Like I said, you will see.
I knew it. I know exactly what you do. I ain't gonna say it on this pod because
Well, what am I gonna do, Lucas? Go ahead. What you got?
The first word is old.
No.
You sure?
Positive. Go ahead. I'll give you one more. Come on.
Nah,
ain't got that much time, Lucas.
Let's keep on going. Let's keep it moving. We gotta be responsible adults here.
That's right, sir. You worried about a picture.
You
You're probably sweating right now.
Worried about a picture.
You're probably sweating right now.
That photo would have been great on April Fool's.
I know.
Well, I guess we'll just have to save it for next year on April Fool's.
Now, all the holidays into the season, I might need this man to do something for me.
All right, I'll hit him up.
Let's go. All right, I'm going back to the regular program. Go ahead, Maurice, with your grade.
My grade for you guys, and boy, this test is looking good for you, Earl. I'm gonna give it a D as well. This is like a C average grade if you're giving it, but I give it a D simply because of inactivity. And you guys had one job, and that's this offseason, and that's at least secure 2 out of the 3 big free agents in your own house. And as of now, you haven't done not one of them yet. So, it's funny because I see on social media a lot of Cowboys fans are divided on who they should sign first, whether it be Micah or Dak. And obviously, I think you sign your quarterback first. That's the first and foremost. But it's just funny.
I agree with you. It would open money, but the more that they wait, that price is going up. Dak is already accumulating over 50, about to be 55. So I'm hearing things of rumors dealing with 60, but I'm like, I wouldn't give him 60. If they extend him, I just need to see an extension. Like, I'm trying not to think on it because I know how they move. I'm anticipating signings at the start of training camp and leaning into August. So I'm going to continue to stick with that instinct for that because honestly, like constantly talking about it, I'm just like, it's just beating a dead horse. And I know what needs to be done, but it's just the waiting game right now, to be honest with you.
Hey,
and
when
So
when Trevor Lawrence got that contract, only thing that was running through my head was Fat Joe. Yesterday's price is not today's price. For every quarterback that gets an extension before Dak, it's just gonna be more money for Jerry to pay up.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I digress with that. Alrighty, I'm gonna lean towards grading the draft. I really liked how this draft took place, especially with guys that they really needed to replace. Now, you guys might not be high on them, and that's cool. But I think Dallas really addressed what they needed to for that. Now, with drafting Tyler Guyton, they definitely needed that tackle. The guy has a big frame, but he's very agile. He's a little bit raw. But at the same time, with him working with Duke Manyweather, who pretty much is like a offensive line guru, sharpen up his skill. The only reason he played right tackle was to protect his quarterback's backside, blind side back at Oklahoma. He's originally a left tackle. So for that, him sharpening up his skills, I believe he's going to be a day one starter. The next, I'm just going to talk about the 4 draft picks. The other ones, I'm not too sure on them, but it's definitely some upsides with them. Going after edge Marshawn Nealon in the second round, I thought was a solid pick, but I also believe it was a D-Law replacement pick, where for Nealon, he's really good with setting the edge. He may not have that pass rush skill, but he has a tendency to pass rush. His bread and butter is more stopping the run. And what I got from this draft is that the defenders that they did go after is to implement stopping the run, as well as signing free agent Eric Kendricks, who knows the system of Zimmer. This is really going to be a solid pick moving forward where I could actually see him getting on the field as well, getting some reps with DeMarcus Lawrence, but looking to potentially be his replacement. The next pick was Cooper Beebe. I love this pick, where I honestly had a second round grade on Beebe, but being able to trade with Detroit to get that extra pick in the third round, I like Beebe on his upside, where they're really working with him on being a center. And from it, I know Brock Hoffman, been working with them as well, where depending what they do with BB is going to be an asset on either two positions, where center or right guard, where Zach Martin has hinted on retiring after the season. So depending on what happens there, either might see BB at center or might see him at right guard, and I'm cool either way with either one. The next draft pick in the third round was Maris Leofau, Leofau. His high Q is what really drew the interest of Dallas, especially with how much knowledge he has on the defense. And I really believe he's going to be the Mike after Kendricks is done, where I could potentially see him on the field this season as well, where what I saw from the draft picks was more implemented on stopping the run, where you got Nealon who can set the edge, you got Maris who can set the middle and hit the gaps when needed to be able to stop the run. I feel like from this past season, that was the problem. I felt like their mode on defense was to get the quarterback. And for years, I've been just frustrated over this, where, yeah, you can pass rush, but that's a reward compared to learning to stop the run, which will give you the reward to pass rush. So I just felt Dallas was backwards with that. And with that, I think Dallas they really needed to hit that on the draft, but also to be able to change the philosophy on stopping the run. So I like that pick. And I'm going to leave off with Kalen Carson in the 5th round, where he's a corner that can play the boundary line as well as you can move him in the slot. But his more go-to is playing on the outside, where with Diggs coming off his ACL injury, I want him not to be rushed. So being able to get Carson to compete with some of the DBs already in-house is going to be fun to watch. But what I saw from this draft, I give them a B minus on what they addressed. But in fairness, more depth guys towards the end of the draft, but seeing guys in their top draft picks, I could see them being more of guys that could have immediate impact if their number is called. Mal, Lucas, Maurice, what are your grades?
I'll start this one, and I'll give it a straight B minus. So I'm actually going to agree with you because I know for a fact Tyler Guyton wasn't your pick because it's recorded.
He was like
So-
he was
Earl,
definitely on the
was
board.
going to punch a hole in the wall.
Yeah, so we know for a fact Tyler Guyton was not your guy, but he still could be an impact player. Still could be. But just for that, I give it a B minus. The rest of this draft, I wouldn't say it was the most impactful. Um, but you filled needs. So I give it a B minus.
Fair. Lucas.
I'm going to give it a B. I think you guys filled a lot of needs. You didn't get any players that were considered reaches. Yeah, you filled most of the needs that you could, considering how free agency played out. So yeah, I'm going to give it a B.
Mal.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B too. Like Maurice said, you guys did address needs. Yeah, no one was really a reach. I think much better than free agency. So yeah, give it a B.
Alrighty. In undrafted free agency, there was one signing that I really liked was Brevin Spanford. He's going to be one that's going to be competing in the tight end room. I really think with the tight end room with Dallas is going to be a very underrated room where seeing who might make the 53-man roster is going to be some changes. Some people going to be left out. But overall, I'm going to give their grade for undrafted free agency. They've had other safeties, running backs, and receivers as well in there, but I'm looking for that D tackle in particular, some guy that can get on the field to have somewhat of an impact because I feel like that is kind of the big weakness in the room for Dallas on that defense. So I'm going to give their undrafted free agency with Brevin Smith forward. I'm going to give them a C minus on what he was able to do in college and how he can help help Dallas this upcoming season and moving forward. But the other guys, I would rank them down lower to a D minus.
So as a whole, what is your grade for our drafted free agency?
I'm gonna give them a C minus.
Okay. I'll go first this time. I'm going to give you guys a C. You don't expect too much out of undrafted free agency. You signed undrafted free agents, so I'm going to give you guys a C because I'll be honest, didn't pay much attention to y'all's moves there.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C also. Like, we always say, undrafted free agents are always a hit or miss. You never know. Most of them don't even make the team sometimes. So I'll give it a C.
And
Maurice?
I'll go C as well. Not too familiar with your undrafted free agents, so pretty much like I said last week as well with Gabe Hall. If you can get one guy that can make the team and make an impact, that's good. You did good, so I'll go C.
I agree with that. I really think Brevin is that guy that's gonna make the 53-man roster. It was just too much I keep hearing from just the room on how good of Brevin is for the team. And I think with Luke Schoonmaker being hurt and Peyton Hendershot not being able to contribute, I think those two guys are going to. I think Hendershot might be the odd man out, but Schoonmaker is really not helping his case, especially with his injury history. So I digress with that. The best move, I honestly, with this, I think their best move was hiring Mike Zimmer. I really think they needed the discipline and the attitude action with what he's trying to bring for this team, especially trying to get this defense to where they need to be, utilizing their potential on what they're good at and being able to see how they can improve moving forward as well as the defense. I really think Mike Zimmer, he's really hitting home that he really wants the guys to do their job to make sure other guys do their job. Team ball. I really think on the defensive end, it wasn't team ball. It was more of individuals. And I really like being able to have Mike Zimmer back because I believe he's going to be able to get the best out of these guys, but also the disciplinary actions will help the team.
Yeah, I mean, Zimmer was a great hire. In my honest opinion, I think the best move. Yeah, I probably have to agree with that, honestly. What do you guys think?
Maurice, what do you think?
Their best move was probably, based off the moves they did make, I would say bringing back Zeke.
Really?
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, I don't think that was
Go
a bad
ahead.
move either.
Go ahead, Maurice.
Yeah, I mean, just they didn't make a lot of free agency moves, and other transactions, I really didn't see anything. I think bringing back Zeke and somewhat solidifying your running back room was a good move. I think it was your best move so far.
Okay.
Okay, for me, I'm going to agree with you, Earl. I think it's Mike Zimmer. Dak is a good veteran to have in the not Dak, sorry. Zeke is a good veteran to have in the locker room, but on the field, I don't know if he's that much of a needle mover. So yeah, I think Zimmer, because look, Quinn left late in the hiring process. And Zimmer, former head coach, longtime defensive guy, you could have gotten a lot worse with a defensive coordinator, and I think you got a really solid one. So I will say Mike Zimmer as well.
Okay. And Lucas keeps sleeping on Zeke. Okay.
I'm not saying that he's bad. I just don't think I think he's at the point of his career where he's not going to be like, 1,000-yard back anymore. I don't even know if he's going to be 500-yard back.
I think he'll have a little more than 500.
I
I really think
sounds,
it's going to be a running. I really think it's going to be a running back by committee where
I
it's
agree.
going to be guys of interchanging. But I'm seeing what I believe if Zeke can run behind the line, and if they go more on a basic approach, being able to move people off screen, I think you'll be able to see more of the older Zeke, not the one that would like have that burst to be like see you later, but can get the dirty yards, but can move the pile, continue to move forward, not going backward, being able to hit the A and B gap when running. I can see that with Zeke. I can see that with the other guys. Rico, he's got to stay healthy because if he can't stay healthy, they're going to give more of the touches to Zeke, where you got Deuce and then you got Malik Davis. So,
well, we will
but
see. We will see. But let's keep it moving.
yep, worst move: bringing back Chuma Adoga on the offensive line. I don't like it, especially with you drafting Tyler Guyton as well as Cooper Beebe. I don't see this as a improvement move. It was my worst move.
Worst move. I mean, obviously, not signing your big three players. I mean, that's pretty much simple.
I'm going to agree with that too. Yeah, I'm going to say
Same
that
here.
as well.
Yeah.
Okay, case closed. The most underrated move: being able to sign Eric Kendricks to be able to help out the defense. I think with his experience at linebacker, it brings something that should have been to Dallas the last couple of years, a three linebacker lineup going to a 4-3. I really felt like they really didn't have that chance to do that, even where I'm not trying to bash on Dan Quinn, but being able to be that mad scientist, Dr. Honeydew, gonna constantly have safeties playing linebacker. Not a traditional thing to do. But seeing what Eric Kendricks still has, he has the mentoring standpoint. He can still play, he can still ball out, but it's really going to help Maris being able to get him up to speed because I believe Maris is going to be the replacement for Kendricks. But being able to see Marion Overshown coming back as well as helping Damone Clark as well. And then on top of that, you bring in Willie Harvey. You have guys that can be aggressive. You can change them out, but you can have them hit the A and B gaps to be able to go after the running back, or if you need to catch him out sideline to sideline. I feel like he's going to be the quarterback of the defense, And I think that's one that's going to be very underrated that not many people will see.
All right, fair enough. For me, it's actually keeping Al Harris. I think that he's a pivotal part of your coaching staff, and not allowing Dan Quinn to steal him. I think that was probably the most underrated move.
Because you stole mine. Yes, it's definitely Al Harris. I could have seen him potentially be a defensive coordinator.
I thought he was going to be y'all's defensive coordinator.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so just keeping him on that defense is I think it's gonna be really crucial.
Yeah, I agree with that. Being able to obtain him, because honestly, I think Dan Quinn was just trying to steal the plants out of our soil to put in his. And for it, Lucas, you can steal the plant from the soil, but depending what your soil is, it might end up like Adam's family plants.
We will see, man. We will see.
We will see. Yep.
All right, so Earl,
having him be promoted to assistant head coach, I thought that was a nice move, especially with what Mike McCarthy did. He was definitely one that was an underrated move, but I believe that moving forward with him, I really think he's going to have more of an impact with Dallas, but without not removing what he's already done. But I'm going to lean towards the overall grade. I know for y'all, it may not be a high grade, but I'm going to give, with everything that took place over this offseason, I'm going to give them a C+. And for me, that's just grades in general. I really need to see what it's like on the field, because I really don't think this team is going to fall off, but I can see upside on seeing how this team can improve after this past season, being able to fix something that wasn't there and that they really have it as immediate attention. So, what do you guys think?
So
go ahead, Lucas.
No, you go ahead, Maurice.
I give it a C+.
Yeah,
C+.
I give it a C+ too.
I'll give it a C.
A C. So we're all in the same realm.
Yep. Alrighty, that concludes my off-season moves. Maurice, you can go to team news.
All right, so NFC East team news. Do we have anything? I'll start this one. Last week, right after we record, I think it was Thursday, the NFL announced that the Eagles were not guilty of any tampering when it came to the signing of Saquon Barkley.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Not guilty. The Panthers, not the Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons were assessed a loss of a 5th-round pick for tampering
and
with the Kirk Cousins signing.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Any other teams? Lucas, you got any news?
Yeah, I do. As most people saw, Brandon Ayuk was on a video call with Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels, and he was talking about how the 49ers doesn't want him, and Jaden was like, "Hey," which everybody can imply because they were college teammates that Brandon might want to come to the Commanders. Look, I don't think it will happen. I would love for it to happen, but do I think it will happen? Probably not. But if the Commanders, which they do have the cap space to take him, if they could pull off a trade for Ayuk and then extend him for whatever money he wants, that would make the Commanders' offense so... I mean, then Terry McLaurin doesn't have to be the number one. Ayuk can be the number one. You have 5 years of cheap contract with Daniels plus Ayuk and Terry McLaurin. The offense would be very formidable at that point. But I doubt it happens. I'm sure they'll probably get a deal done, but one can dream.
Earl? Mal?
Yeah, I mean, Giants don't really got much going on. We've been kind of quiet recently. The only thing that is worth mentioning is we did sign a UFL running back, Jacob Sailors. He has some NFL experience with the Bengals and the Falcons. So we'll see how he does, or even if he makes the squad. That's really it, though.
Earl,
And
anything on the Cowboys front?
I pretty much talked about it through the free agents where we signed 2 UFL free agents with Gary and Conley and Willie Harvey.
Okay. All right, so we can move on to the mailbag. And the mailbag this week is brought to us by my team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds. And I have one question. Actually, I have one question, or 2 questions from one person. And I actually have a question from Lucas as well. So let me. I'll wait on Lucas's question.
Oh,
Actually, the Eagles fan who sent this, and shout out Rob, he asked me this question via the Philadelphia Eagles subreddit Discord. So I'm digging deep. I'm digging deep for these questions. I'm going everywhere. So Rob asks, it's a twofold question. Rob asks, by the time camp ends, how do you think our secondary will look starter-wise? Between Mitchell, Slay, and Ringo, who makes the 53 after them between Bradbury, DeJean, Ricks, Mannix, Job, etc.? It seems unlikely everyone gets kept.
That's a solid question.
Yeah. And the second question is, second question is pretty much the same for receivers. Who do you think ends up receiver 3, and will Paris Campbell, have any significant contribution beyond what Quez provided if it ends up being him? To answer your first question, in my world, if I was defense coordinator, Bradbury would be cut. So that's one person right there. I would keep about between the corners and slot corner, I would keep 9. It would be Slay, Mitchell, DeJean, Ringo, Maddox, Job, Ricks. I think that's 7. Yeah, 7. So pardon me, 7. And then I would have 4 safeties, and that would be C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and who was the other one? I'm missing someone. Slay. I think that's it. So that's 9. And I wouldn't bring back Bradbury, but if he does come back, I'm forgetting Isaiah Rodgers. That's what I'm forgetting. Okay, so that's 10. Okay, so that's 10 right there. Let me repeat that one time. So it would be Slay, Mitchell, who I project to be the starters, DeJean, Ricks, Job, Isaiah Rodgers, and the safeties would be C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship, with Sidney Brown still nursing an ACL injury. So to answer that question, that's it. For receivers, right now, I really want Aeneas to be the receiver 3, or Aeneas. I keep saying Aeneas. And Paris Campbell, I don't know. Lucas's guy, Johnny Wilson, we'll see. They're not deep at receiver 3 right now, so I could definitely expect them to sign someone off the street, but when training camp comes around. But right now it's actually up in the air. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
Not too much.
Yeah, I could definitely see Aeneas being wide receiver 3. It just depends on what Kellen Moore's scheme is going to be, especially with the receivers, because you're probably going to look at either a wide receiver, pretty much a 3 or 4 receiver set with what Kellen Moore will want to do. But there's also guys who will be able to understand what Kellen Moore is understanding, where he's got to be on anticipation with Jalen Hurts. So whichever best 3 guys on the field that can understand what Jalen Hurts is going to do, I think that'll be the case. But right now it's up in the air. You got to see it in real time.
Yeah, we really do. And real quick, the other question was by our very own Lucas. Should Kelly Green be the primary color again? I say yes. If I was the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles football team, Kelly Green would be the primary color and the logo.
So would it be the old logo, or would you have the new logo but with just Kelly Green?
No, the old logo, the
Okay.
gray wing.
Okay, gotcha. No, I'm talking about not on the helmets. I'm talking about the actual logo.
Yeah, they've had a change in the logo recently, and I'm not a fan of it. It's just too plain of a text. But yeah, I just like the Kelly Green. I just like the green. I don't like the midnight green. I've never been a fan of midnight green. It's just an off-putting color, in my opinion. The green just
Yeah.
pops more, especially on TV. You saw it last year. It looks better on TV.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I think Maurice, with that, I kind of agree with them bringing it back. Like, I actually wouldn't mind seeing the white jerseys with it as well. I think that
Yeah,
could be something like solid for them, especially bringing more of a fan base in to the Eagles with those that remember those uniforms. I think it'd be something nice to be able to keep permanently.
I agree. All right, it's time for Who's That Player, right, Earl?
Yes, sir. It's time for Who's That Football Player, Deanie. This football player played on the Washington Football Wizards back in the 2005 season. We had the 84. He had 84
No one
receptions,
else caught that.
1483 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 3 fumbles. His career awards: he was a one-time Pro Bowler as well as a one-time second-team All-Pro. Everyone, who's that football player besides Lucas?
Yeah, I know this one. Mal, Maurice, do you guys know?
I'll let
I
Malcolm
don't
say.
know.
All right, so 2005 receiver, 84 receptions. Um, One-time Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm.
I am. I.
Give you a hint. He made the Pro Bowl that year.
Well, that seems like a standout year. I'm stumped.
I'll give you another hint. He started his career with the New Jersey Jets.
A Jets player that played for the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice, I got one for you. He played at the U.
Ooh, ooh, oh,
I know
this
it's
is
on the
bad.
tip of your tongue. I got you. Go ahead.
Santana Moss.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I knew he had it in him. Yeah.
I'm getting old.
Hey, age is nothing but a number, bro. It's nothing but a number. One thing with me picking this player, I threw a bone to Lucas because I know he's one of his favorites. Favorites. But he wasn't Randy Moss, but he still did enough damage with having the name Moss.
And Santana's a cool name.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One memory that I have in my brain dealing with this, and this is another reason why I can't stand the football Wizards. Back in 2010, when Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin got put into the Ring of Honor, they had their throwback 1960 uniforms, and it was a Monday night game, and Washington came into town. Dallas was winning this game 13-0, and 2 impact plays by Santana Moss pretty much stole the game from Dallas, and they won 14-13. Where Santana Moss pretty much in the middle of the field caught 2 bombs and sealed the fate of Dallas. And
you said 2010?
I think it was 2010. Was it 2007?
Who was the quarterback?
That
will help me.
It might have been 2007. It might have been 2007 when that happened.
So Jason Campbell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2007.
2007. Cool. I knew it was one of them. But yeah, that memory just kind of stuck in my head where it was like a good old school rivalry with the Cowboys and now the Commanders. and that was one that I was just disgusted with. But overall, Santana Moss was a dynamic receiver, and I give credit where it's due to him.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead to Mal and the poll questions. There are 3, and they are all ironically connected to the team that it was supposed to be on Friday.
Yeah, so first one we had was, which wide receiver will have more catches and yards this season? Jahan Dotson or Luke McCaffrey? Jahan Dotson won that one, but only by a thin margin, 56% to 44%.
And that's on Twitter. I don't think Facebook got very many votes. So is
No,
that just
yeah, Twitter really has the major response on our polls. But yeah, either way, Jahan Dotson also was favored on Facebook too.
Okay.
Next poll question was, should the Washington Commanders trade for Brandon Ayuk and extend him? Both Facebook and Twitter said yes. And that was by a wide margin.
Good.
Which I think is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think anybody would not want to trade and extend Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Then our third question was, what is the bigger question entering the season in the NFC East, the Commanders' offensive line or the Cowboys' running back room? Commanders' offensive line had a little bit of an edge here. Both are pretty questionable. So this was a good question.
Well, I read an article from ESPN, NFL ESPN, and I tagged the question to that tweet. But honestly, I think it's the Cowboys running back room. But
and honestly, I think it's the Commanders O-line.
I bet you do.
I can't.
Because you gotta protect your prize player. Do you think they'll be able to do it this season?
I think that we have a better. Let me ask you this: do you think our offensive line got better?
I think so.
I think
we
so
had to
too.
get better. We had
yeah, I think so.
No way to go but up.
So
who?
Let's see here. We upgraded at center. We got Nick Allegretti. We also drafted Brandon. Oh gosh, what's Braxton Miller? Right? Is that the guy from TCU?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that those are 3 names right there. Cosme's still really good. The question is, can Andrew Wiley be okay? We'll find that out.
So you got your faith in Tyler Biadasz.
He made a Pro Bowl. He's not been bad. He was not bad for you guys last year.
You got to watch the tape, bro.
You guys had an elite offensive line, and if he wasn't good, it wouldn't have been elite.
I wouldn't even say it was him. But it is what it is. We will see this season. Time for your trivia, sir.
But yeah, anyway, that concludes our poll questions.
Fair enough. And it's time for me to get to the trivia now. And now I'm curious because I've talked to Earl already. I'm not going to let him answer until last. But Mal, Maurice, I'm going to pull up the poll question here real quick. And it's a Cowboys poll question. I thought this was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
So here's the question. How many seasons since 1960s has the Cowboys defense ranked first in yards allowed, and when was the most recent season they did so?
Ooh, yards allowed.
Yes.
So that means they were a bottom-ranked defense.
No. Top-ranked defense.
Top.
Oh. Okay, so they had one of the best defenses.
Yes.
I'm going to say 6.
You say 6, and what do you think was the last season they did it?
It had to be one of the Romo years. I can't pinpoint an exact year, but when Romo was the quarterback.
Okay, Mal, what do you think? How many seasons?
Best defense?
Best in yards allowed, yes.
In yards allowed, probably 5.
5, okay. And what season was the most recent one in your opinion?
Probably the early 2000s.
Can you give me an exact year?
I mean, maybe 2004, 2005.
All right. Earl, what did you tell me the other night? How many seasons do you think it was?
I believe it was 4.
Okay.
And I'm really leaning towards, I remember in 1992 when Dallas won the Super Bowl, they pretty much was the number 1 ranked defense, and none of their defenders made the Pro Bowl that year. I would say that was it, but I would also lean towards 2003 season where Zimmer was the defense coordinator.
You got to give me one.
Okay. I'm going to say 2003.
You are correct on both accounts.
So 4, and the last one
I
was
was close.
2003.
Yes.
I said
94.
5. So.
Now, here are the seasons. 2003, 94,
92.
92, and
And
then
there was one in the 60s.
nope,
70s?
one in the 70s, 77.
Oh, that's when they won the Super Bowl. They beat the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
27-10.
So, good job. That was a tough one.
That was a solid question.
Yeah.
You're getting better at this, Lucas.
That wasn't a question.
You're making sure it's revenant in the Super Bowl era.
You're
not making Maurice lose a temper.
if I do anything before 1960.
Yeah.
Good questions. Keep them up, sir.
Yes,
That was a
sir.
good one.
All right. And on that note, I believe it is time for Mal this week to play us out.
So before we close out, I just wanted to give a shout out regarding the unfortunate passings of NBA great Jerry West and MLB great Willie Mays. And we're praying for their families, hoping that they find peace during this difficult time. And just want to thank them for their great impact on sports. So let's close it out, guys. I just want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Please make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Music, 13 Rings and NFC East podcast. And please make sure you follow us on our social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 13 Rings and NFC East podcast. Everyone have a great night.
See ya.
Peace.
Blessings.